How's it going, everybody? Today we're talking about 2025 and the movies that might cross that insane milestone of $1 billion at the box office. IMDb recently ranked the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025 on their website based on search history, based on user data, all that good stuff. So what we're going to do today is run through 10 all the way down to 1 to see which movies may or may not hit that milestone. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I have a few movies that didn't make this list that I think are going to make $1 billion, no doubt. Coming in at number 10 on their list is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The marketing for this movie is saying that this is the last entry in the Mission Impossible franchise, which I think is a very smart move. That way everyone's like, oh, I have to go see this final film in this franchise that just gets better and better with all the stunts, with the storyline especially. You know, Dead Reckoning that came out a few years ago, top tier Mission Impossible movie, in my opinion. The only issue that Dead Reckoning has is that no one went to go see this. You have to remember that that came out during the Barbenheimer summer. It actually came out right near that whole time frame. So the numbers were actually going to Barbie and Oppenheimer, while Dead Reckoning was kind of left in the dust. No one was talking about it, which is a complete robbery because that movie needs to be seen. And I really do think that there is interest in this. You know, Top Gun Maverick came out that summer and basically saved theaters. That was right after the pandemic. It came out and made over $1 billion. Tom Cruise is still a star. Like him or don't like him, it doesn't matter. He makes really good action movies. I think a lot of people are gonna really gravitate towards this one, especially if they keep saying this is the final time you can see Tom Cruise do all these stunts on his own on the big screen. That's gonna be the key. And if they do that without, you know, the distraction of Oppenheimer and Barbie, movies like that, which it sounds like based on the release date that that's what they're going for, this movie definitely has the potential $1 billion. Coming in at number 9 is a Minecraft movie. This one actually shocked me because when the trailer came out for a Minecraft movie, it was met with so much negativity. I'm kind of indifferent on it. I think it looks cool. Kind of weird that they didn't go animated with it. I think that would have done so much better. The trailer looks like it's going to gravitate towards kids and maybe the fans of the franchise, young or old, it doesn't matter. And I think that that's what they're banking on. I think this is going to be a kids movie at heart, and that's going to draw the families, take the kids, and that's where the money's gonna come. Having said that, I don't think the word of mouth for this movie is gonna be that good. I just don't see a world where this is gonna be an actually good movie that people are gonna tell their friends to go see. I think it'll be a success to a degree, but there's no way this is making $1 billion. Number 8 is Jurassic World Rebirth. It's been proven time and time again that dinosaurs make money. There are 6 entries in the Jurassic Park, the Jurassic World franchise over at Universal. They've all been a success. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the last trilogy. I liked the first one, the Jurassic World, but everything after that, I did not like the direction they were going with that. I think they fumbled in the biggest way. So this one, Jurassic World Rebirth, has potential. It's already gonna draw crowds, right? It's already gonna be a success, but they have lost a lot of fan trust, in my opinion. And as long as they go back to what makes these movies so much fun, if you go back to Jurassic Park, that is a horror movie at its core. And this franchise has not gone back to its horror roots since the beginning, right? It's always been action, action, action above everything lately. And as long as they go back to that and give us something different, something fresh, I think that's gonna bring a lot of people in. So having said that, $1 billion. Number 7 is Snow White. Where do I even start? The live action remakes at Disney fall into one of 2 categories, right? A huge success, I'm talking over $1 billion, like The Lion King, The Beauty and the Beast, and then there's the ones that, you know, aren't. The Little Mermaid, Mulan, things like that. Look, I'm calling it right now. This movie is not making $1 billion. It'll never make $1 billion. There's way too much controversy surrounding this. There were comments made by the lead actress. The casting of the 7 dwarves was fumbled big time. They ended up delaying this movie like over a year because they had to go back and CGI in the actual 7 dwarves because they didn't do it right the first time. And now because of that, the movie looks like a CGI mess. This movie has way too much going against it. There is not a chance that this is making over $1 billion. Number 6, Captain America: Brave New World. I kind of see this movie in the same way I saw Snow White, where there were so many reported production issues before, during, and after the movie wrapped, where I just don't see how this movie is going to end up being good. And I want it to do good. I like Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson. I think that him taking the shield from Captain America, making this Captain America 4 essentially, is a great progression for the character. I watched the latest trailer for the movie and in my opinion, it did not look that good. And then with all the reshoots that they're saying that this movie had, it sounds like they filmed an entire different movie. And I'm worried that this is gonna be just some Frankenstein meshed up monster movie, kind of like Justice League. Maybe not that bad, but you get my point. But it is a Marvel movie. Everyone's gonna go see it at least the first weekend, and then if it is that bad that I fear it might be, word of mouth is gonna travel. It's gonna lose steam immediately, kind of like Joker Follow You Do. Not to that extent. I understand it's not gonna be that bad of a drop off, but if it is as bad as I'm worried it's gonna be, I don't see it having any legs to carry it to $1 billion. Number 5 on their list was another Marvel movie, Thunderbolts. This one's about a team of anti-heroes, and it has the Marvel name, so like I said before, that first weekend is gonna draw a ton of people to the theater. Now this is where Captain America Brave New World and Thunderbolts are gonna differ. Thunderbolts is gonna be fun.
Is that Bucky?
That's not good.
If the marketing and the story are on point, it's gonna do really good. I just don't see it crossing $1 billion, even if it's the best thing that Marvel's released since Endgame. Number 4 is How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake. They already had a live action remake on the list, but this one is gonna be a much different story. I had no idea how big of a following the How to Train Your Dragon franchise actually had. When the trailer got released, I made a short about it, talking about what I liked about the trailer, and I got a lot of comments. I got a lot of comments from people that were very big and very loyal to that franchise. They were very excited to see this live action remake. And having said that, my takeaway from it is that they're doing things the right way. You have practical sets, you have CGI where it's needed, and they're finding a way to blend these worlds together. To everyone's surprise, Toothless looks just like he did in the animated movies. So I think they found a way to make it work to where fans are gonna be happy, people that go see the movie that have no idea what this franchise is about is gonna be happy, and because it's not a Disney live action remake, they have that as well. Billion. Number 3 on their list was Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now I'm really curious to see how this one actually shakes out, because now we have the MCU, Marvel, Kevin Feige, they have the rights back to the Fantastic Four, which if we're being honest, those other live action adaptations in the early 2000s, they were fine. Period. Now this project does have a lot of things going for it. The cast is absolutely stacked. It has Marvel's name on it. It's a Fantastic Four that's never been done right. That alone is gonna bring a lot of people, once again, initially to the theater. If the movie ends up being a bust, if the story is convoluted and a mess because they wanna include Galactus, they wanna include the Silver Surfer, and then they wanna introduce all these different characters, and then there's potential that Robert Downey Jr. is back as Dr. Doom. See what I'm saying here? It's gonna be stuffed, it's gonna have a lot to do in like 2 hours. So if the movie is a mess, if the movie is not what we wanted and expected, that's gonna travel fast. And once again, like everything else that I've talked about on this list, if it's that bad of a movie, it's not gonna have legs to carry it. Marvel's already on thin ice as it is, in my opinion. If this movie doesn't deliver, it's done. Let's look at the other side of that though. If it is a very good movie, word travels fast, the cast is great, the acting's great, the story's great, they find a way to do things differently than they ever have before. Basically what I'm saying is if it's a breath of fresh air from Marvel and it's a good movie, I still don't see it hitting $1 billion. I see it being a big success, $600, $700, $800 million range, but it's not Captain America, it's not Hulk, it's not Thor, it's not Iron Man. Those movies that people already know and love, it's not gonna be that in my opinion. So once again, it's gonna be a success probably, but it's not gonna cross that $1 billion. Number 2 on their list was 28 Years Later. I'm just trying to be real here. Horror movies are never gonna hit $1 billion. I don't care how good they are. Even if it gets amazing reviews, everyone's talking about it, it's just not gonna ever break $1 billion. But that's okay, because horror movies don't ever really have to do crazy numbers to be a success. And I love making this example, but look at Terrifier 3 from last year. It made $89 million at the end of its theatrical run. Horror movies are usually made for pretty low amounts, so they don't have to do a lot to be a success. So, gonna be a success, never gonna cross that $1 billion range. And the number 1 on their list was Superman. Now Superman is very much mirroring Fantastic Four in my eyes. James Gunn is rebooting the entire DC cinematic universe, and that alone makes this movie a big deal. Superman's one of the most recognizable superheroes ever, and with DC trying to turn things around, actually be a cohesive cinematic universe, this could be a massive hit. But there's one big thing that I think is gonna hold it back, and that's superhero fatigue. I think it's a real thing. You can debate on that in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. At the end of the day, this is coming out in the middle of July. Jurassic World comes out at the beginning of July. Fantastic Four comes out like a week or two after this. It's gonna have a lot of competition. And so if people are already burnt out on superhero movies and they're burnt out on DC, this movie might stumble. The trailer for the movie got over 50 million views in like a week or two after it was released. Those are not small numbers by any means. Plus, I talked to a lot of people that I know personally, DC fans or just movie fans, it doesn't matter. It's like a mixture. And people that are very hard on movie trailers, a lot of them are pretty hyped for this. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of interest in this movie, but you have to remember that a lot of people don't trust DC. People are mad that they recast Henry Cavill as Superman. There is a lot going against this movie. So as long as the hype keeps building, the next trailer does even better than the first trailer. People will start talking about it. This movie will break $1 billion. Now, there were a few movies that weren't on this list that I think are gonna make over $1 billion, no question about it. The first one I wanna talk about is Avatar: Fire and Ash. Both Avatar movies were a huge success. They both broke over $1 billion. I'm sorry, what's that? 2 billion? There's not a world here, there's not a world over there, there's no multiversal world where this movie, Avatar: Fire and Ash, doesn't break $1 billion. The next one on my list is Wicked for Good. So many people just ended up loving this movie. There's a lot of people that I know personally that I never would have expected in my life to say that they like this movie or even love this movie, and yet here we are. The hype leading up to the release of Wicked was so high. You couldn't turn on the TV, you couldn't look in a magazine, you couldn't look anywhere without seeing the brand of Wicked being endorsed through all these different companies. The marketing was everywhere, everyone was talking about it, and the movie just delivered. And now that you can buy it, you can rent it, it's gonna be streaming on Peacock later this year. More people are gonna get to see this movie. They're gonna fall in love with it, they're gonna fall in love with the music, the characters, they're gonna wanna see how the story ends. The movie Wicked already crossed over $600 million during its theatrical run. The fact that this is gonna just have a bigger following after it's released on Peacock and streaming and more people are gonna see it, the ceiling is gonna be double that. This movie is easily gonna cross $1 billion. Now, were there any movies that weren't listed in this video that you think will make $1 billion? Please let me know what they are in the comments. And if you wanna see what my most anticipated movies of 2025 are, you can check out that video right here. Until the next video, everybody, see you later.